I've been away for 2 weeks, a family holiday, and the first real pause we've taken in a long time. And this is what we've come back to. A month of heat, no rain, and everything that just couldn't survive it. The nettles survived just fine, of course. They always do. Possibly the worst affected were the courgettes. We didn't expect too much from this back area. It's always been the wildest bit of the plot, but before we left it surprised us. It turned into a lush forest of green, thick green leaves, strong stems, and fruit forming everywhere. And then we came back to a sickly sea of yellow. Leaves collapsed in on themselves, soft stems and fruit rotting exactly where it had tried to grow. It's strange how fast it happens. 2 weeks of heat, no rain, and something that looked unstoppable just gave up. And this is the contrast. This is what we left. This is our first courgette harvest, taken just before we went on holiday. The garden didn't fare much better than the allotment. The real irony here is the blueberries. They've shrugged off neglect for years, and the moment I actually took care of them, they give up the second I go on holiday. The other devastation was the autumn and winter seedlings. I'd planted them all a few weeks before we left, hoping they'd be ready to carry the plot into the colder months, but most of them didn't make it. This herb bed was built just before we left, and without time to root in deep, the lavender and sage didn't make it through the drought. The lettuce is bolted and it turns really bitter, but it's not the end of the story, it's just lunch for the chicks now. The leeks didn't make it either. They were completely frazzled and there's no coming back from this. And the green beans, I gave them a week of watering, willing even the strongest ones to put on some growth, but nothing. At some point, you need to stop watching and waiting and just accept that this is a start again situation and not everything needs fixing. Sometimes it just needs a reset. But then there are these two beds, and they've stayed properly green through all of it. The chives are having their best year yet, they're barely noticing the heat. And the tomatoes have thrived. I meant to grow these plants up canes to give them some proper support, but just before we left for holiday, the bigger priority was getting my other plants in the ground. These went in well established and have been left to their own devices. They've sprawled out and thrown up so much foliage that it's shaded most of the bed now, which it turns out is probably exactly why it's held on to its moisture so well. Sometimes the plan you didn't have time for turns out to be the one that works. These beetroot are gigantic, too big in fact, so my problem now isn't growing them, it's what to do with all of them. And this fennel was meant to be bulbing fennel, but no bulbs have formed. Maybe this was the heat, maybe not the variety I thought, but it's flowering now instead, so we'll use the fronds in salads and save the seeds for when they're ready. Just one drumstick scabious made it this year. I've managed to catch it both in flower and in full seed head. It's not much to work with, but it's enough to save from, and that's the plan. Collect the seed and grow more next year. If I can get enough with good long stems, I'd love to have enough for a large dried flower arrangement. After all that, I needed to step back for a bit. Not fix anything, not replant anything, but just come to terms with what hadn't made it before I could face starting again. I let myself get distracted with smaller things instead. I made a batch of vanilla essence, nothing to do with growing really, but it's the same instinct, making something myself slowly instead of buying it. It's been about 2 days since I added the vanilla pods to the vodka to make vanilla essence, and just look at that colour, it looks incredible. You can even see the tiny dots from the vanilla seeds starting to come out at the bottom. You're meant to give these a quick shake or twirl every few days and store in a cool dark place. That's already starting to look incredible. And the poppies had gone to seed from our front garden, so I saved what I could, standing the seed heads in a vase just to have something from the garden inside for a while. It gave me the space I needed before going back out there. With the trays emptied, it's time to start again. Some evenings, this is what gardening actually looks like. Indoors, after work, whatever time I can find. Trays emptied, seeds going back in. Sprouting broccoli, kale, Romanesco cauliflower, cabbage, Chinese and regular, and Brussels sprouts that are much later than they should be. I don't know what time these seeds will have to grow before the season turns, but it's worth trying anyway. With the seeds sown, the next stop is the allotment. That needed some attention too. And some mornings that means 7 AM starts. Out weeding before the heat has a chance to hit. It's not glamorous, but it's often the only window that works. The potatoes tell part of the story here too. We didn't get the plot until May, and this was the first bed we built. So that's when they went in. They were late for potatoes and it showed. This first plant I dug up gave me only 4 tiny potatoes, none bigger than a 50p coin. Elsewhere on the plot, it's less about growing and more about clearing. And watering. When I first took on the plot, finding trees already here felt like such a huge bonus, and the cherry and the plum tree have more than earned their place. The elder trees, though, not so much. They're lovely trees, but they weren't really earning their space here. And the truth is, elder grows all over around here if you know where to look. Hedgerows, verges, plenty of spots nearby. So it felt like a really easy decision to let ours go and give that space back to the veg. Good job too, since elder's soft, fast-growing wood, it comes down really easily, which, given how hopeless I apparently am with a saw, worked out well for everyone. The elder wasn't the only surprise waiting for us here. This, to the right of the screen, is horseradish, growing away quite happily on its own, whether anyone planted it on purpose or not. I've no idea what I'm going to do with it yet, but I'll find a use for it somewhere. Something else has been growing while all this was going on. While we were away, the first egg arrived. We've had eggs in the most beautiful shades of blue and green. Holding our new eggs next to a regular sized egg like this white one almost make them look toy sized. They're so dainty. The chicks get so excited when they see us. They all rush to the gate in a little crowd, even if they just hear someone open the garden door. Their combs and wattles have taken on this vivid red colour almost overnight. It's such a striking reminder of how fast they've become adults. After holding those first blue-green eggs, it's hard not to think about where it all started. From tiny shells in the incubator.
I can see her eye. We believe in you. Come on, we're here. Hi. Welcome to the world. Hi. You just play skittles with the other eggs. She's just got lots of trees to shell on the back. Oh, she's cold. Here, chick, chick. Here, chick, chick, chick.
I think you've become a chicken roost.
It's a journey that still amazes me. We've come full circle, starting with eggs and finally finding ourselves right back holding eggs again.
3 eggs.